Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for agreeing to participate in our broadcast. Our guest is the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of China in Taiwan, Joseph Wu. And the first question I want to ask you, of course, it concerns the war that Ukraine is currently experiencing. Do you see any parallels between the situation in Ukraine before this full-scale Russian invasion and the current armed threats of the People's Republic of China near the borders of Taiwan?
I couldn't hear the question very well, but I would assume that you were asking me about the situation in Ukraine and how Taiwan is looking at it. The way we look at the war in Ukraine is that it's a tragedy. We saw Russia initiated a war against Ukraine on February 24th, and it's totally against the principle, the most important principle of the United Nations. And that kind of actions is an atrocity against innocent people in Ukraine. And it is also ruining the rules-based international order. And therefore, that is something that we will never accept. And we will stand together with the people in Ukraine to fight against their aggression.
How do you characterize the security situation around Taiwan now? High-ranking US politicians, Speaker of the House of the Representatives Nancy Pelosi visit Taiwan. On the other hand, the other day we heard the new possible threats of force from the President of the People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, during the Congress of the Communist Party of China. How serious do you think it is, and how does the war currently underway in Ukraine affect it?
The war in Ukraine has been influencing our thinking here in Taiwan. We saw what an authoritarian country can do to a peace-loving democracy. And we see that an authoritarian country can trample upon the sovereignty and territorial integrity of another country. And therefore, when the people here in Taiwan see what's going on in Ukraine, we also understand that that might also happen to Taiwan. And because of the bravery of the Ukrainian people, the Taiwanese people feel very strongly that we should stand together with Ukraine. And therefore, you can see the support coming from the Taiwanese people toward Ukraine is very strong. We not only condemn Russia's action, but we also provide support to the Ukrainians. And in the future, we will continue to stand together with the Ukrainians to fight against any kind of aggression against Ukraine. And here in Taiwan, we are also facing aggression from the Chinese authoritarian regime. They have been threatening us almost the same way as they have been threatening, as Russians have been threatening Ukraine. And we also hope that we can learn from Ukraine to how to defend ourselves. And I think the lessons that we learned from the war in Ukraine is tremendous. We know that our determination to defend ourselves is something that is very important. And we certainly see what the Ukrainian people have demonstrated, the will to defend themselves. And we also see the international support for Ukraine. And that kind of support is also allowed the Ukrainians to resist the Russian aggression. And today I need to say that I'm glad to see that the Ukrainians are pushing Russians out inch by inch and city by city. And that is going to lead to a situation that the Ukrainians will be able to push the Russians out of your territory. And by the same token, we think that Taiwanese, with the kind of self-determination to defend ourselves, we will be able to resist any kind of aggression coming from the other side of the Taiwan Strait.
Can you tell us about Taiwan's position after the Russian attacks on the Ukraine in February 2022? To what extent do you share the words of the Speaker of the House of the Representatives of the American Congress, Mrs. Nancy Pelosi? The words she said before arriving in Taipei that this war is part of the conflict between democracies and dictatorships.
Well, in the world, we see that this is a growing trend. It's democracy on the one hand and authoritarianism on the other hand. And we see that the authoritarian countries have become more aggressive than before in working together with each other. We see the kinds of cooperation in between Russia and China. And we also see the Russians taking concrete actions to go to war or have aggression against the Ukrainian people. And the kinds of atrocity or the brutality against the innocent people is something that we have witnessed. And on this side of the world, we see that China is also getting very aggressive, not only toward Taiwan, but if you look at broader, especially in the Indo-Pacific region, and many of the recent military exercises conducted by the Chinese side have penetrated through the first island chain to go deep into the Pacific Ocean. And in June, we saw China sign a security agreement with the Solomon Islands, which is very far away from China, which is very close to Australia and New Zealand. But the Chinese authoritarianism is not only looking at this part of the world, they are also looking at the Indian Ocean. They go through Belt and Road Initiative to set up their naval ports along the Indian Ocean. And that shows the Chinese ambitions of expanding throughout the world. And in our view, China, with its power, can be more dangerous. And it has the power to project its philosophy or to project authoritarianism, to change the rules-based international order, and therefore can be much more dangerous than Russia. And now we see China and Russia seem to be cooperating with each other. And this is a very dangerous trend. And I think the like-minded countries of democracies need to work together with each other to prevent the authoritarianism from expanding further.
Mr. Minister, what assistance does Taiwan provide and can provide to Ukraine in this difficult time for our country?
Beginning from February 24th, the Taiwanese people have shown tremendous support for Ukraine. From day one, we condemn Russia's aggression. And then we join hands with the United States, Europe, Japan, and etc. to impose sanctions against Russia. And in the subsequent month, we provided humanitarian assistance, not only to the Ukrainian refugees residing in Eastern Europe, like Poland, the Czech Republic, Slovakia, and also the Baltic states. We provide lots of support for them. And we also raised materials, 562 tons altogether, and we will continue to do that. And personally, I was also in touch with some city mayors, like mayor of Kyiv, or mayor of Kharkiv, or mayor of Bucha, and call them up and provide them with Taiwanese donations. So this is the kind of support that we have been showing to Ukraine. And in the future, when the war subsides, Taiwanese government will work with like-minded partners like Poland or Slovakia or the Czech Republic to contribute to the rebuilding process. And I think the most important of all is that Taiwanese people stand together with Ukraine. And this is the factor that we hope that the Ukrainian people can understand.
Let's talk about the contacts that Taiwan maintains in Ukraine today and the contacts that it will like to maintain. You have already talked about contacts with representatives of local self-governments. Let's say you had a conversation with a mayor of the Ukrainian capital. We know about contacts with the head of the Orthodox Church in Ukraine. As far as I understand, a visit of Ukrainian parliamentarians to Taiwan is being prepared and cooperation group with the Republic of China has been created in the Verkhovna Rada. What do you think this whole level of contact look like? What would you like to improve? What can be achieved in this situation?
Well, thank you very much for this question. The Taiwanese people and Taiwanese government provided support for Ukraine. It's not because we had any good relations before or we are asking for anything in return. We provide support to the Ukrainian people because we think that is the right thing to do. And for right now, we are staying in touch with some cities in Ukraine. And we also see some parliamentarians They organize themselves into Taiwanese friendship group, and they want to come and visit Taiwan. And of course, they are welcome to come to Taiwan. And as long as there are Ukrainians who want to make contact with Taiwan, they are more than welcome to do so. And we will have officials, our diplomats in Poland, to stay in touch with the people in Ukraine so that the two sides can continue to discuss with each other on the kinds of assistance that Ukraine needs and the kinds of assistance Taiwan can provide. Very soon, we will have some parliamentarians coming to visit Taiwan. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee in the Ukrainian Rada is coming to Taiwan very soon. And I hope I have a chance to discuss with him on how we can support each other and how together we can support the rest of the world.
How do you see the prospect of economic relations between Ukraine and Taiwan in the future? You have already talked about the need to rebuild Ukraine. Reconstruction, of course, is connected with the investments. Investments are connected with the normal economic climate in Ukraine. To what extent can the Europe integration of Ukraine affect the level of investments in our country? In your opinion, what else should Ukraine do to interest your entrepreneurs to do the self-investment in the region?
Thank you very much for that question. I think for the long-term perspective, we hope we can do business with Ukraine and we can improve the trade relations with Ukraine. And we are discussing on the Taiwan side that we will set up a trade office over there. In fact, we already have a trade personnel. Now he temporarily residing in Poland, but he's bound to go back to Kyiv. And when he goes back to Kyiv, he would like to get in touch with the businessmen in Ukraine. And as far as I can see, the economic sectors in between Taiwan and Ukraine are mutually supplementary. Ukraine is so rich in its industrial power and is so big in its agricultural production. And Taiwan is very fast in the ICT sector. And I think we are mutually complementary. And if we think about the future, I think both sides can benefit from more exchanges with each other. But we need to wait until the war is over, or we need to wait for Ukraine to defeat the Russians so that we can discuss in more details on how we can work with each other. But trust me, the Taiwanese people are genuine in thinking about doing business with Ukraine. And I know for sure that it's going to be mutually beneficial.
I would like to ask you, Mr. Minister, to address some words to our audience, to the Ukrainian people. What would you say to Ukrainians today after 8 months of this guerrilling war which the Ukrainian people are going through?
To my dear Ukrainian friends, I know the war is still going on, and I know the pain and suffering the Russians have brought to Ukraine. But the Taiwanese people and the Taiwanese government will stand firm together with Ukraine. And with your bravery and determination, you will win the war at the end. And I see that you are pushing Russians out inch by inch, mile by mile, and city by city. And you will definitely win this war. And by the time you will be able to rebuild your beautiful country with the assistance of many other democracies. And Taiwan will always stand together with you. And Taiwan will be your genuine friend to contribute to your rebuilding process of your beautiful country.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. I want to sincerely wish peace to the people of Taiwan.
Well, thank you very much. Peace is all we want here in Taiwan as well. Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.